Hello and welcome to the It's Raining Crafts podcast, episode 4. Today is Friday, July 10th, 2015. So, how are you all doing? I'm still trying to find a setup for my episodes that's okay. I have a little basket in front of me with my whips that you can't see because I record on my computer. So, I hope that you all are having a great week, and I am I'm doing lots of travel prep now. I'm going to see my mother next week, and I'm going to be there for a while, so she may pop in an episode, or maybe in all my episodes when I'm visiting her. And my son this week, oh my god, he is so cute. He every time that he sees my knitting, he has to get his knitting. So this week he told my husband, I want to knit. I want to go to the yarn store and learn how to knit from the big girls from my knit group that I knit with at the yarn store. It was so cute. He's like, Mom and Mimon already know how to knit. They will teach you how to knit. And he's like, no, I want to knit from the big girls. So I thought that was kind of cute. And he's just too much. And so anyway, enough about my son and my travel prep. It's 2 minutes in and I haven't been able to talk yet, but let's talk about some stash enhancement. Sorry, I had to say that. I had to say it like that. So, it's July and I'm already thinking about Christmas knitting because the end of the year for our family here where we live in Pennsylvania is very, very busy. It all starts with my son's birthday, and then the craft show that I talked about a few episodes ago is in that mix, and it's just maddening. So anyway, Christmas knitting. I was on eBay and I found this yarn. It's Vanna Glamour Lion Brand in Rhinestone Pink. I hope that. Yeah, and it's a very, very bright, deep pink. It's almost like a magenta in person. And I got this yarn. I had an idea when I saw it on eBay, and I'm like, I will knit some gifts with that. So I ended up getting 4 skeins, and I came home because I'm like, oh, a skein for each, because when I think of projects, I think of, okay, what can I make with that? So my original idea was to make hats and cows out of this, but when I got it, I realized that it's a fine yarn. It's a number 2. It's not a 4 because I usually knit with a 4. Vanna's a 4. So I'm like, what can I do with this? My next idea was to take it with me when I go on my trip, because I know that I'm going to end up at Michael's. And I'm like, if I need to find a pink that I can mix with this. And then the third idea came and said, oh, look in your bag, Raina. So I ended up making this cow. And this was going to be for my sister, but it came out really, really thin. And it's not really wide. So I mixed it with with Michael's Impeccable. It's like a glittery type yarn. She likes black and pink, so this has flecks of pink and blue and yellow in it, and then it just kind of pops with the pink in there. But I found a pattern that I will talk about later, and I really wasn't happy with it. I was like, oh well, if I do another repeat, it'll be thicker. So this is just going to go to somebody, maybe like a little girl or something. My mom knows of little girls that will like sparkly pink and black. So anyway, I then was like, oh, I got a knit for the boys, my 2 nephews and my son for Christmas. So I found Royal Blue Red Heart soft yarn. And I usually don't use Red Heart, but the blue kind of pops. And my nephew, Tucker, his favorite color is this color blue. So, to have them all matching, I got 3 skeins of this. And this will be going with me on my trip. I got the yarn today, and so I wound it up and I caked it. Then I was like, oh, I should start knitting this to see how it works up. But yeah, I have lots of other prep to do. Wow. I have to clean a little bit and make sure that my 2 cats have enough food and litter while I'm away. My husband will be taking them. So, yeah, that's going to Tucker and Camden and Kellen. Excuse me while I take a drink right now. So, anyway, finished objects. I finished my Zauberball socks. The ends need woven in. They need to run through the machine. And, but they're done. And I like how they turn out. And these will be going with me on my trip to make sure that they fit my mother's feet before I start to knit her socks. Which is another crazy Zauberball in red or magenta and purple and orange. It's already packed, so I can't pull it out right now. But when I originally found the Zauberball, I was in the Lancaster yarn shop up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, at the Kitchen Kettle, and I saw a shawl, and it's called a Batkus, Batkus, and basically you just keep increasing until you reach half the skein, and then you decrease until you hit 4 stitches every 4 rows. And I'm really not a shawl wearer. I mean, I wear my hitchhiker. But when it's like in dire need of like wicked cold outside, I wear more cows than I do shawls. So yeah, and so I did my Kitchener's. When I ended up finishing the socks, I had 47 grams left of the 100 gram ball, I think it was. So I'm contemplating on knitting another pair of Zauberball socks for me out of the same colorway, but I know it will be different. But I have projects that are on hold until I come back from my trip, so I don't want to be thinking about that right now. And the next finished object. So I wanted a mindless knitting project. One that was quick and easy and that I didn't have to think about when I was on the plane or traveling with my mother. I just, so I went on Ravelry and I found a pattern called the Chunky Circular Scarf by Julie Marsh. And it's a free pattern and it uses 6 strands of DK yarn. I don't have 6 strands of DK yarn, so I took the rhinestone pink that I showed you earlier. Sorry. So I took the rhinestone pink that I saw earlier, and then I got Vanna's purple in a 4-weight, and I made this. This is a Christmas present for a friend from college. She likes pink and purple, and when I see pink and purple, it reminds me of my strawberry shortcake big wheel I had when I was little. It had a really high back, and then it was pink. And then when I was a little bit older, probably about 10 years later, I had a pink and purple 10-speed. I think it was called Sweet Style. And they had the little kid version, and then they had the bigger version, and I had the bigger version. And when I was knitting that cow, I was like, oh, I'm thinking about that 10-speed or my big wheel from when I was little, because I was really into strawberry shortcake, and it was a really nice memory to go back to. And sorry, I'm showing a little bit of my cleavage here. I know you don't want to see that. So anyway, yeah, and I knitted the Vanna hat on the Vanna cow, the pink and purple cow, on US size 15 needles, Haya 16-inch circular. And I'm going to make another version of the black and pink for my sister because she likes black and pink. And I'm going to use those needles when I go. I don't know if I'm going to start it tonight or start it when I'm on my way or when I'm there, but I have everything in a Ziploc bag, because if they could see it, it's easier to get through the TSA. That's what I say. That's how I think anyway. So what else was I going to say? Oh, and I made the Crazy Zauberball socks on a size 9 circular needle, and it's a size 3, and I use 2 and I can't speak. I do that one. Then I switched to do 2 DPNs to do the heel flap, and then I switch back to the 9-inch circular, and then I switch back to the DPNs to do the Kitchener stitch. So that's how I do that. So we're going to get into whips. We're already 15 minutes in. Can you believe it? But first I cast it on a bankhead hat. This is for the craft show that I will be talking to you about at the end of the episode. But I always say it's better to have more of one hat than it is another, so I casted this on in Lion Brand Heartland Redwood colorway. So I don't have that much done. I did my 3 inches of ribbing. I started the meat of the hat, So, last night, I'm about to pull this hat out, and I have a little, like green cheat sheet that I use. It's just an index card holder, and I put patterns in there when I travel, or when I carry with me with my knitting. So if I think of a particular hat, I have the notes on how to do it, so I don't have to pull up the Kindle. And so anyway, last night it was like, oh, so then I'm not giving away the secret sauce of the pattern. You knit 4 and you purl 1 all the way around for 1 row. And I said, well, you can't. I only cast on 88 stitches because I was on my way to 100, and I really didn't want to take the yarn off and recast on for 100, so I stopped at 88. So I'm like, I had to do a little bit of math, and I suck at math. I really do. I mean, that's what my husband is for, to do my math. So I'm like, so then I'm like, well, how do I do this? And then it just like hit me all of a sudden. It's like, well, just knit 3 and purl 1 around. So that's what I'm doing. I'm knitting 3 and I'm purling 1, and then you knit the next row. So, and then once you hit 7 inches, I'll put it on the DPNs, and I will decrease from there. I will figure out how to decrease from 88 stitches to, from 100 stitches to 88 stitches, because normally I fall patterns right to the point, but I was really, really tired, and I didn't want to fool around with it. So, yeah. And then I am working on my Olsh sock. My sock that I have in my tutorial on my blog. I got... Wait, this is tangled. I got past the gusset decreases. I'm on the knit portion now where I'm knitting the foot. I guess the last time I measured it, I was at 5.5 when I was at the laundromat earlier doing my laundry for my trip, so I have clothes to wear and not clothes to wash when I get there. But I plan to have this done by Sunday, so I can cast on my second sock and my full instructions on the blog, because there's 4 parts now on the blog. The 5th part is going to be how to do the toe decreases in the Kitchener stitch. I don't like Kitchener stitch. I just don't. And I don't know how to do a 3 needle bind off yet. That's too complex for my brain right now. So when I'm ready, I will learn how to do a 3 needle bind off. So the next one is The Hitchhiker by Martina Ben. And I'm up to 10 teeth. I haven't put my marker on my stitch yet because I packed my stitch markers away last night, so I had them for my trip. But this is it. It's a powder blue. It'll look very pretty. And I also packed the second skein of yarn that goes with this pattern away, so if I run out of yarn, I don't have to run back to Imagine It in the Castro in San Francisco to get another skein. So, yeah, and that's about it for the knitting. And I ripped back my decreases on my barley hat because I was confusing myself. I had like 7 stitches in one section and 9 in another and 14,000 in another, but you get what I'm at. You get what I'm saying if you ever decreased on a hat. Let me have another sip of water. Decreasing hats are not my cup of tea, but anyway, so my mother-in-law, to when my son was 2 months old, she tried to teach me how to knit, and everybody is right-handed that tried to teach me how to knit, and I'm a lefty, so they say place the mirror in front of you. Well, I'm more watching her hands and watching the mirror on how to knit, but it was a fun experience. She's like, quit watching my hands, and I'm like, I can't stop watching your hands. I have to watch your hands. So when I notice on most knitters that when they knit from the outside in if they're right-handed, and I knit from the inside out. I go, instead of going clockwise, I go counterclockwise, and I get the same result with all my projects. So I'm marking myself as a left-handed knitter because I am left-handed, and people say that you can't teach a left-hander to knit. Well, they are wrong, because left-handed people are just awesome, and you can teach a lefty to do anything. And when I come back from my trip in next month, I am going to attempt to make a sweater. I found a sweater on hanging in Uncommon Threads, my local yarn shop, and it's called the Contented Cardigan by Hannah Fettig. I had to make sure that I had enough yarn, which I do for the body, but I was thinking of doing the ribbing in another color. So let's see if will that come in. So there's the picture of the sweater. You can't really see it. I will link to it on my blog. It's 3/4 quarter sleeves, and that's a bonus when you're short and sleeves don't really fit you. So that is what is up with that. I have 7 skeins of Borogo Weekend in the squash colorway, and I think that it's like a golden color, and I think that if it would look really nice with that, like a dark brown, like a mocha color. So I'm going to try to do that and see how it works out. But I wanted to talk to you. My brother-in-law sent me my email for the Grandma's Holiday Craft Show, which is at their Red Lion Bed and Breakfast here in Red Lion, Pennsylvania, outside of York. The dates are November 5th through December 6th, and it's just, there's like over 100 crafters, and everything that you could find, everything that you want is there. Well, I'm one of the crafters, and I knit hats and scarves and cowls, and I have little flowers that I make, and those seem to be the hot sellers of the craft shows. Over the years, it's just every as a crafter, you get an email every at the end of every weekend telling you what's sold. So you know how much of what you sold, and if you need to drop off more. Some people request special orders. That's fine. So what was that? So anyway, that is what is going on, and next week I will be recording from my mother's living room in California. So I will I hope that you have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.